the residential and detox programs.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Glad you were able to join us.
It's been a minute, right?
Yeah, it has. And I'm Dan Sokulski. I'm a recovery support specialist with Chestnut, work on the ROSC project, and also have a caseload for a court services program called Ignite. So clients basically trying to have substance use related offenses removed from the record by completing the program. So it's similar to task probation, if you're familiar with that in Illinois. So thank you, everybody. I got to jump at 3:15 to get my daughter from school, but I think one exciting thing that's on the table, and Chantel, I haven't forgotten about your update, is planning some kind of music therapy, some sort of event, whether it be over Zoom or maybe even for the including the clients at Chestnut, the adults. Maybe we have one for people not in treatment, just out in the community, another specific to clients. Tom, has there ever been any kind of music group or music therapy, for lack of a better term, at Chestnut while you've been there?
I think that went away around the time that we lost the recreation staff, and that would have been about 10 to 12 years ago.
Okay. So at one point there might have been something.
You talking about for adults or for children?
I mean, we're really just talking about anything right now. This is really the first time we've broached this topic with any kind of having somebody who could actually facilitate it. I think it's come up before as like an idea, but right now we're really exploring possibilities, really the very beginning of the discussion.
I was going to say, because they had, I know they did music therapy for children over at Children's Home and Aid. There was a group of ISU students who had got a grant, and they was able to do it for 2 years to do music therapy. So I wasn't sure, and I think the parents, it was well received.
Yeah, I bet. Have you worked with children before, Caitlin, or is that something you'd be open to if we did? I mean, with the ROSC, it's really recovery-oriented systems of care, so we try. It's easy to fall into like, all sorts of different projects in the community, but sometimes we need to remind ourselves, well, this is really for people in recovery, not just substance use, mental health, criminal thinking patterns, just any kind of recovery. But I think it'd be cool maybe to do like maybe we could make it like a family related thing where it's people in recovery with their kids, or something like that. Is one.
Yeah, definitely. Cause I'm an ed major. I've been with children a lot during like clinicals and things like that. And I was a camp counselor for a little bit. So yeah, I can do all ages.
Well, that's really cool. I'm just writing that down. Sorry. So maybe it would help if you kind of just describe sort of what you envision, if or what you used to do with the ladies that you've worked with before over at Labyrinth. To kind of just help us sort of envision, how you've done it up to this point.
At the Labyrinth, I had my friend Lauren come. She's way better at guitar than me. They had a couple of guitars there. Lauren would bring her own guitar. There's a piano and then a drum set. I would bring like my hand drum, my djembe, and then pass out egg shakers and stuff. There would only ever be no more than really three of them at a time. So we would start out by like talking, open with a little jam session. So I would bring my speaker if they had a song they requested from us, or Lauren could learn songs like on site by just pulling them up on her phone. So Lauren would play guitar and sing. I would sing and play my hand drum. And then the woman at the Labyrinth could play like on a shaker, and they would like to sing along. After that, we would talk for a little bit, see what songs they would be interested in learning. I would look up the chords, and then Lauren would either start teaching someone on guitar while I taught somebody on piano. We taught them not by like sheet music, but we used like colored stickers on the guitar for chords and on like piano notes. So it was way easier on the memory. Less like tactile. That helped them. Yeah, and then by the time we were going through songs, the sessions would be over. It was really relaxed. It was a lot of fun. I could see us doing like simple jam sessions there. Even with recorded music, it can help move it along faster. Yeah, and involving them in any ways, whether that be like sometimes teaching basics of music, um, yeah, things like that. My friend Kendall plays guitar a lot. He was really interested in coming to help out with that. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, that sounds the beginning with the jam session and kind of passing out like the, you know, the thing you scrape, the tambourine, the djembe drums. That sounds pretty familiar. And then, in fact, now that I think about it, this was at Broman where they did it twice a week in their IIAR addiction recovery program. And I think it was also a student from ISU that would come over to run it. This is going back almost 10 years ago, 6 to 10 years ago. So it sounds pretty similar. We didn't ever like learn songs though. It was more, she kind of had prepared. She'd bring lyrics and we'd sing along, but it wasn't more of that sort of like hands-on actually learning to play, you know, which I think is really cool. Because it is pretty easy to learn basic chords for guitar, piano, and sound like you actually know what you're doing, you know. You know, you teach yourself 4 or 5 chords, and you know, there's a lot of songs you can play with, you know, just like C, G, D or something. I'm thinking like guitar, throw in an E or A. That's cool. I think we'd be. Go ahead, Faye.
Oh, I was just gonna interject that one. When I was with the Granny's band, some of them know how to play the instruments. I know how to play the flute, but I think what helped also the women in Labyrinth, like, you know, what Caitlin said, is that number one, it was informal, and then number two, they didn't right away. When I brought the subject, you know, to them, they said, I don't know how to read notes, you know, I have not played. So I said, no, it's really easy. I said, you know, do you know your colors? He says, yes, you know, and then do you know how to match? Yes. And so it's kind of became like, you know, a play, you know, for them. And they really got excited at the end, you know, of the session, you know, they'll be able to play a song by just following, you know, the different chords, not necessarily knowing what is C, D, B, G, whatever, you know, but just knowing the geometric symbols and the color, and they're matching them. They really just had fun, you know, doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took away the threat, I think, you know, and you know, from I myself don't know the specifics and the techniques of all knowing, I mean, you know, the notes and everything. So
now those instruments that you mentioned, are those ones that you own, or you borrow those from ISU? Like, would that be obtaining instruments?
I own a guitar. My friend Kendall owns a guitar. I would bring my bag of like all the little instruments you said, like the sticks and the shakers. But we used a guitar or two from Labyrinth and the keyboard from Labyrinth.
yeah. I did speak to Vera and Kara from Labyrinth about maybe, you know, 3 weeks ago now, because the instruments are just there sitting in the basement, and I don't see really them being used again. Well, there are 2. They can spare us one. Like there are 2 recorders in the basement, you know. I think there are 2 guitars. I don't know if the other one needs to be restrung, you know, or I mean restring or whatever how you call it. And then we have a set of drums there, you know. So I did tell them that we might, you know, borrow them for the meantime, you know, and they're more than willing, you know, to do that. So instead of, I think, you know, kind of waiting for someone who, I know people have instruments in their house they're not using, and they'll be more than willing to donate, you know. But since we have something there to start with already, might as well use them. Yeah.
I've got an acoustic guitar that I'd be happy to donate to the cause as well.
Awesome. Okay.
So, and you know, in this group, we also try to do we've done like the paint nights. We actually have open mic is something we've done before. Maybe we can somehow parlay this into like the next open mic night, and that usually includes, it's over Zoom so far. And Tom's actually facilitated the ones we've done before. But it includes one of the units in residential, either the men or women's. We just kind of take turns. So next time I think it would be the women's turn. Now, is that something you think would be possible over Zoom? I know it'd be difficult when we're talking about passing out instruments. I guess better question is, if we were to do something over Zoom, what might that look like,
A year ago, I would have said probably not, but after like doing online school for a year, I'm sure we could figure something out. Whether like me and my friend are just playing and they can sing along, it would probably be more of like a talking activity about the music, maybe the lyrics, and them singing along if they'd like to, or echoing. There's definitely stuff we could figure out.
That's cool. So, I'd like to get this going, something like this going for just the recovery community in general, but I also think it's something that'd be really cool for the people in the residential programs, just kind of haven't had that experience myself, and knowing how popular it was with myself and the peers. See, and Angelica get recorders at Dollar Tree. Oh yeah, everybody remembers the old recorder lessons in grade school for sure. Do-it-yourself instruments. All right.
And I think we have an acoustic guitar that floats among all 3 units. So
yeah, that sounds right.
Probably snatch that.
Right. When I was working in Phoenix, Tom, before they closed it down, there was actually one or two electric guitars and a bass. And we had amps. There was a little room where we had it all. There was a keyboard too. Brian Hansen he's recently left, but he was the one who ran that program. So those are probably somewhere in storage, or
I'll keep an eye out. Out of all the random crap that we found in this building recently, as we've inventoried our storage space, I haven't heard about electric guitars, but yeah, I'll see what I can find.
Unless the clients maybe somehow snuck them in their luggage, but
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, maybe I'll text Brian and ask him if he knows anything about that. And then, not to like totally switch gears, I just want to make sure in the time we kind of cover some other stuff. Angelica, we had talked about like a Grady's outing as well for, as part of like a recreational event. That's something I think would fall under this group too.
Yeah, I forget what the purchase amount or reservation requirement was, but I think it was like we'd have to at least get like 7 or 8 people before we'd make a reservation so we can all do like a group outing.
Yeah, I want to say it was like $50 deposit maybe, and then $675 per head or something along those lines.
Yeah, and then I think reservations have to be made in at least 48-hour notice.
Yeah, it sounds right.
You have to find enough people to want to go do it.
Okay. So that's something else on the horizon. I think if we just whipped up a flyer and got that out and got word out, that we could probably easily find 7 to 8 people at least. Chantel, you had something at the beginning you were gonna mention. I apologize, I didn't get to that sooner.
I was just going to give an update of that I'm still accepting referrals for home visit doula services. So if you have anyone in the community that's in need of doula or home visiting, children, preferably children from 5 and under, because I know a lot of times people have sent over a couple of older children, it's not often, but even if there needs some type of services, as any family, please feel free to send them our way, because that's possibly other services that I can provide for them. But if you have any kids, 0 to 5, who possibly want doula service, meaning doulas for moms that are expecting, and if you the home visiting program is just from 0 to 5 years of age, so just let me know if there's any families that need any of those services, so I can get them services.
Okay, thank you. And we had plan coming in this year to do open mic nights either every other month, or now it's looking more like quarterly, since we have had one. And that's something where it's been done over Zoom so far. Anybody in recovery can hop on, and it's music. It's we've had people do like comedy sets. We've had a lot of like creative writing and poetry. We have had somebody play music most recently. A gentleman who works for Chestnut jumped on and played some jazz over the keyboards, and that was a good way to cap it off. I think that worked out pretty good. So I'm like wondering if that's something that's already kind of has some level of familiarity. Like maybe we dub it as like open mic and just with an emphasis on like the music part, or do we just keep it separate from open mic? This sort of music therapy. What is there a better word than therapy? Is that okay, or is that like?
I guess it's not. I can't do music therapy because I'm not like certified for it.
Okay.
I guess just like music group. We could call it music group.
Group. Okay, that works for me. So I guess my first question is, do y'all think it would be best to start as part of an open, like our next open mic, or do we want to keep it separate, like its own thing?
I don't think we have the dedicated numbers to really worry about it. I think combining them would be just fine.
Yeah. In other words, the turnout has been spotty, so that would mean the cool thing about that is it. I guess first question is, are you typically available at 6 p.m. on Thursdays, Caitlin?
Yeah. I don't have a job right now. I'll be available.
Okay. Because the way we've done that before is it goes from 6 to 7, and then we have this support group called Bridges, which is a all recovery and family group, and it also includes the clients. One of the switches every week between men's and women's unit. It's just a meeting where they can ask. We have people with lived experience as well as people brand new to recovery. We have active members of ALANA or family recovery programs, as well as 12-step programs for alcohol and narcotics. And the clients kind of are given the impetus to sort of start that meeting off. We don't have like readings in a set topic. It's like you guys share, and then you can ask questions, or you can just talk about what's on your mind or what's got you worried or concerned or happy. And then the people in there who have the lived experience sort of just share after the newcomers have had their turn and kind of weigh in based on whatever like themes come up. So we've kind of done it back to back with the open mic straight into the Bridges. So it's kind of got like, it's given us a chance to get some new faces and Bridges. So that's why we like that time, 6 o'clock Thursdays. And to this point, that's always been done over Zoom. So we have to, in our coming meetings, kind of figure out what we want that to look like. And then, we could still have a separate event where we have, flyers and advertise, and maybe it's an in-person thing, if COVID allows, where it's, anybody can come, anybody who's touched by recovery in any way. And that's kind of more of the hands-on, learning the music. And even for the open mic, if it's over Zoom, like we could still, I'd be happy to help, get those instruments to one, to Chestnut. And, we'd make sure Tom's the associate director of residential. So he's the right person to have, to make sure it got to the clients and it all came back to one piece. If you wanted to do it from one of the units, that might be possible. I don't know if it would or not with COVID, Tom, but like if she were to.
Yeah, at this point, no, it'd
Okay.
be Zoom only.
So perhaps down the road.
I can keep you posted. We've had no updates as to when we can allow in-house meetings yet, so that would be in the same conversation.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people in the recovery community itching to get back to that, get back there for the in-house meetings. I've been asked for over a year now.
Yeah, I want them. That would be very helpful. Just, you
Mhm.
know, life.
Sure. Is there any other sort of recreational things that, I mean, this probably with the open mic, with the music, with the Grady's, with the quarterly paint nights. I mean, I know there's always more that we could be doing, but with 6 of us and 15 minutes left in this meeting, I think that's probably enough on our plate. Would we agree? I'm seeing some nods.
Good meeting.
So Caitlin, let me just ask, like this is something that we're very graciously volunteered for and we're grateful for it, but I don't want to like make it into something that you're not wild about. So like if you'd rather have it like its own thing, if you'd rather do it with people currently in residential treatment, or you'd rather do it with people maybe early in recovery or out there working a program, do you have any preferences? Like I want to make sure that we're organizing this and setting up as something that works for you, basically, if that question makes sense.
Yeah, I don't have experience with this type of group, so I'd be willing to work with any of them. People really respond positively to music, so just whatever's most helpful, whoever needs it most, I'm willing to do. Yeah.
I should also say, other than thank you, which is awesome. If the residential units participate, their camera would have to be off.
Okay, that's totally fine.
Good point. Okay, so kind of what I'm thinking is let's try something first is like the open mic. That's something we could do maybe like last Thursday in June. So we'll have some time to kind of plan it out. That was usually even months, wasn't it? Because I remember we did one in October, I think, or am I wrong about that? Oh no, it was July was the first one.
I don't remember. And then at the end of June would be just fine.
Okay. Does that time frame work for you, Caitlin?
Yeah, definitely. So they would be, anybody who wants to would be performing, and then we'd kind of transition into a music group thing.
Yeah, and that's something we'll have to talk about, how we wanted to be structured. I think right now we're just trying to conceptually land on something.
That's fine.
Realistically, with how they've gone out or how they've been conducted, there's been about 1 or 2 people who will share a poem. Maybe someone will share some recovery literature, and we have a lot of filler. So
Okay.
we have plenty of time for you to do everything you do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Tom and I have had to each write short stories to help fill time too, so, which was good. It got us, well, speak for myself, got me back into writing a little bit after many years hiatus.
That's great. I took this job and I didn't have time, but you know.
And the other cool thing is like one of the things we try to do in this sober recreation group is with the painting, with the writing workshops, now with the music, is introduce people to new coping skills, basically, you know, new things that they can try to cope with stressors. And, you know, what better thing than music for a lot of us, you know, just.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I think that fits the sort of vision really well. As far as like planning out exactly how it'll look that first time, I think maybe if we just sort of marinate on it for a couple of weeks and come back for our next meeting, and we could probably plan it out then, and then we'd still have plenty of time to advertise. And again, it won't just be you'll have a broader audience than just people in recovery. There'll be at least a handful of people from the local recovery community who will want to either come on to play or hear music. So maybe we do at the beginning, here I am jumping into it, but maybe we give people an opportunity to, you can run it however you want, but people an opportunity, since it's going to be billed open mic, to play what they want.
Okay.
And then you can sort of jump into, just the way you have done in the past with Labyrinth, talking about music, talking about lyrics, maybe even showing basic chords, whatever, wherever you want. I know it's not ideal over Zoom, but what I'm hoping is we can do this, and then in either July or August, we can have something that's broader and maybe even in person. And that's where you can really kind of do your jam like you did with Labyrinth, or however you want, with, maybe the same kind of thing, but it's just open to, the recovery community in general, not just like a residential treatment or just like Labyrinth. Is that all sounding okay?
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to take the next couple of weeks to think about what I want to do more, but yeah, this definitely sounds good.
Okay. Well, we're extremely grateful for you. Faye, thank you for bringing Caitlin into this. I think this will be a really cool thing. Like I said, we've talked about this for over a year. We just didn't have the contact,
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Oh, sure. And again, you just be assertive with us. Tell us if it's going down a path that you don't think would be great, or you think is not just ideal for whatever reason. Don't be shy. Just tell us. We look at you as the expert, so we respect. We just have certain rules we have to work within with COVID, and the treatment center. But when it comes to actually the how-to and the structure, that's you're our expert on that. So we'll defer to whatever you think's best.
Awesome. That's fine. Yeah.
Anything else with the 7 minutes here? Does Monday 2:30, is that a time that's okay? Or are we kind of like not wild about that time right now for 2 weeks out? I just see Tom rolling his eyes a little bit, thinking maybe.
It all depends on group coverage. So I will never be dependable. I'll just be extra. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
we're done here.
Caitlin.
It was nice
See you all
meeting you,
again.
Caitlin.
Nice to
Make
see
sure I
you.
get your
Yeah, nice
email.
meeting you all.
All right. We'll hope to see y'all in 2 weeks or sooner then.
Mhm.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.